Imagine this. You're standing in front of the final Atlas stone, one lift away from becoming the world's strongest man. The crowd is silent. Your hands are bleeding. Your heart is pounding. For years, you've trained to beat the unbeatable, Mariusz Pudzianowski. Now, it all comes down to this stone. You wrap your arms around it. You lift. Victory is in your grasp. But then, it slips. Half a point. That's all that stood between Derek Poundstone and strongman immortality. In 2008, America watched in shock as its strongest man's dream crumbled in front of the world. This is the heartbreaking story of Derek Poundstone, the man who almost conquered the world, but lost it all by just one stone. Waterbury, Connecticut, 1981. In this blue-collar town, strength isn't just admired, it's necessary. As a kid, Derek Poundstone learns that power comes from persistence. He wasn't born into strongman royalty. There's no family legacy, no special genetic gift, just a stubborn determination that refuses to quit. At 6'1" and 280 pounds, Derek doesn't have the freakish size of strongman's giants. What he lacks in height, he compensates with explosive power and unmatched work ethic. They call him the Poundstone, a name that sounds like a sledgehammer, fitting for a man who attacks every challenge head-on. Early footage shows Derek training in the typical American fashion. No fancy equipment, just raw determination and weights that would crush ordinary men. His powerlifting years build a solid foundation. Deadlifts, presses, squats, movements that forge raw, immovable strength. But Derek wants more than numbers on a barbell. He craves competition, battles that test every part of human strength. That's where strongman comes in. His first strongman competition revealed both promises and areas for improvement. The static strength translates beautifully. His deadlifts and presses immediately mark him as a serious contender. While the technical events expose weaknesses, his potential is undeniable. Early victories fuel his confidence. Early defeats sharpen his resolve. Derek attacks training like he attacks life, with methodical intensity. Every lift has a purpose. Every session is a step towards one goal, becoming the world's strongest man. His domestic success comes quickly. Multiple American strongman titles establish him as the nation's premier athlete in the sport. But domestic dominance is just the beginning. The real test awaits on the international stage. Training footage from his peak years shows an athlete who's mastered the balance between strength and technique. His Atlas stone lifts become legendary, not just for brute power, but for the effortless fluidity that makes the impossible look easy. The American strongman community rallies behind him. He represents more than personal success. He is the nation's hope to finally take down Europe's champions and bring the title home. The pressure is immense, but so is his motivation. On his first World's Strongest Man appearances, he shows the world exactly who he is. Not just a competitor, not just a contender, a threat, and soon, a nightmare for the reigning kings of strongman. The mid-2000s marked Derek's emergence as a genuine World's Strongest Man contender. His combination of raw power and technical skill places him among the sport's elite, but one man stands between him and ultimate glory: Mariusz Pudzianowski, the Polish powerhouse, four-time World's Strongest Man champion. A man who doesn't just win, he dominates. Mariusz is everything Derek wants to become: physically imposing, technically flawless, mentally unbreakable. In 2006, Derek got his first taste of World's Strongest Man competition. He doesn't make the final, but he sees exactly what it takes to reach the top. The gap is wide, but Derek's determination is wider. Derek's preparation intensifies. Every aspect of his training is scrutinized, every weakness addressed. He knows the Atlas stones often decide the champion, so he practices them until his arms are bruised and his forearms bleed. 2007 marks a breakthrough. He wins America's Strongest Man, competes internationally, and with every podium finish, the world begins to notice. His confidence grows. His Atlas stone loading has become poetry in motion, smooth, powerful, and devastatingly effective. When the competition comes down to stones, Derek fears no one. His rivalry with Mariusz develops into one of strongman's most compelling storylines. The unbeatable champion versus the hungry challenger, Polish power versus American grit, experience versus ambition. The strongman community recognizes they're witnessing something special. Derek's combination of strength, technique, and competitive fire marks him as a generational talent. The only question is whether he can overcome the sport's most dominant champion. Training footage from late 2007 shows Derek preparing for what feels like his destiny. His strength levels are peaking, his technique is flawless, and his confidence is unshakable. The stage is set for 2008, Charleston, West Virginia. The world wonders, can the American underdog finally dethrone the Polish king? Or will Mariusz prove that legends never fall? Charleston, West Virginia, September 2008. The world's strongest man competition arrives on American soil. For Derek Poundstone, this is everything he's worked for. The hometown hero, the nation's hope. The pressure is immense, but so is the opportunity. This is his moment. The competition format plays to Derek's strengths. Atlas stones as the final event. His signature discipline saved for when it matters most. The plan is simple. Stay close in the early events, then finish it with the stones. Event after event, Derek executes his game plan perfectly. He doesn't win them all, but he stays consistent, accumulating points and positioning himself for the stone-loading finale that could crown him champion. Meanwhile, Mariusz Pudzianowski does what he always does, dominates. He's strong across all events, tactically brilliant and calm under pressure. The Polish king isn't ready to give up his throne. The competition becomes a two-man war. Other elite athletes compete, but the real drama centers on Derek versus Mariusz. Every event is a chess match, every rep a battle, every point a potential championship. By the second last event, the scoreboard is clear. Derek trails by just half a point. To win, he needs a flawless performance on the stones, and for Mariusz to falter. The margin for error is razor thin. The atmosphere in Charleston is electric. The American crowd senses history in the making. Thousands of voices chant his name. Flags wave, cameras flash. Their strongman hero stands on the verge of greatness, one event away from ending European dominance of the sport. 5 stones, ranging from 140 kilograms to 200, loaded onto platforms rising taller with each lift. Derek's specialty. The event he's trained for until his forearms bled and his back screamed in agony. He stands there, breathing deeply, eyes locked forward. His mind is silent, his body ready. Everything he's worked for comes down to the next few minutes, and as the whistle blows, the world holds its breath. The Atlas stone loading begins with Derek executing flawlessly. His technique is textbook perfect, smooth pickup, controlled movement, decisive placement. The first stone flies onto its platform in seconds. The second stone follows just as easily. Derek's rhythm is perfect. The American crowd roars with each successful lift. Their hero is on the edge of greatness. Mariusz struggles. His stone technique, never as clean as Derek's, begins to crack under pressure. The Polish champion who was invincible suddenly looks human. The third stone is the turning point. Derek's lifts with authority, demonstrating the years of stone mastery that's defined his career. Mariusz fights to keep up. Each failed grip costs him precious seconds and precious hope. The fourth stone keeps Derek's momentum alive. His technique remains flawless despite the mounting pressure. The crowd noise reaches deafening levels as they witness their strongman hero dismantling the 4-time champion's stone-loading attempt. But strongman is cruel. Perfection isn't optional. It's mandatory. One mistake, one moment of lost concentration, one technical flaw can destroy hours of perfect execution. Derek steps up to the final stone, 200 kilograms, the heaviest, the most demanding. His setup is perfect, his grip strong, his back locked tight. He begins the lift. The stone rises smoothly, following the path he's practiced 1,000 times. The crowd holds its breath. Then, it slips. Not a dramatic fall, just a subtle shift. Enough to kill momentum. Derek fights to recover, muscles straining, face contorting with desperation. But the stone crashes down. The arena falls silent. Moments ago, they were ready to crown their champion. Now, they stand in stunned disbelief. Derek looks up, eyes filled with pain. In that single slip, his dream is gone. The final scores are tallied. Pudzianowski completes his stones and claims his 5th title. The margin, half a point. In a sport measured in tons and seconds, Derek Poundstone loses by the smallest imaginable gap. The championship that felt inevitable becomes the heartbreak that defines his career. And in that silent arena, America's strongest man learns the cruelest truth of all, that sometimes, even perfection, isn't enough. The immediate aftermath of the 2008 defeat reveals Derek's character. No excuses, no blame, just the quiet dignity of an athlete who gave everything and fell just short. The pain is visible, but so is the grace with which he accepts defeat. Post-competition interviews show Derek processing the loss in real time. The opportunity was there, the execution was nearly perfect, but Strongman's unforgiving nature turned nearly into not quite enough. The half-point margin makes the defeat even more painful. The Strongman community's reaction reflects genuine sympathy. Everyone understands they've witnessed one of the sport's most heartbreaking moments. Derek's stone-loading mastery made victory seem inevitable until that final, crucial slip. His continued career demonstrates remarkable resilience. Lesser athletes might have been broken by such a close defeat, but Derek returns to competition with undiminished intensity. The 2008 loss becomes motivation rather than devastation. Subsequent competitions show Derek at his technical best. His Atlas stone loading remains world-class. His overall strength continues to improve. The defeat hasn't diminished his ability, it's sharpened his focus. The 2008 loss creates a compelling narrative for Derek's remaining career. Every competition becomes a potential redemption story. Every stone loading session, a chance to exorcise the demons of that September day in Charleston. His influence on American strongman extends beyond his own achievements. Derek's near miss inspires a generation of American athletes who see that world championship success is possible. The gap between America and strongman's traditional powers has never been smaller. Training footage from Derek's later career shows an athlete who refuses to be defined by one moment of misfortune. His preparation remains meticulous, his stone-loading technique continues to evolve, and his competitive fire burns as bright as ever. The respect he's earned transcends championship titles. The strongman community recognizes that Derek's 2008 performance was championship caliber, denied only by the sport's unforgiving nature, and margins measured in fractions of points. Derek Poundstone's legacy is written in that half-point margin from 2008. The American strongman who came closer to world's strongest man glory than any of his countrymen before or since, only to see it slip away with a single stone. The Charleston competition represents more than personal heartbreak. It symbolizes the cruel randomness that defines elite athletics. Talent, preparation, and execution can be perfect, but success still isn't guaranteed. Derek's stone-loading mastery became legendary, not despite the 2008 defeat, but because of it. The technique that should have delivered the championship instead delivered the sport's most memorable near miss. Perfection interrupted at the worst possible moment. His continued excellence after 2008 demonstrated true championship character. The defeat didn't break him, it refined him. Every subsequent competition carried the weight of redemption. Every stone-loading session a chance to prove that slip was an aberration. The American strongman community claims Derek as their champion regardless of official results. He proved that American athletes could compete with the world's best, that the gap between domestic success and international glory was bridgeable. Modern strongman fans recognize the 2008 World's Strongest Man as a watershed moment, not just for Derek's near victory, but for what it represented: the sport's increasing competitiveness, the narrowing margins between champions and challengers. Derek Poundstone, the man who almost conquered the world, the American who came half a point from strongman immortality, the athlete who proved that sometimes the greatest victories are the ones that slip away, the stone that broke America's heart, the lift that defined a career, the half point that separated legend from heartbreak. In strongman's most painful near win, Derek Poundstone became more than a competitor. He became a symbol of what might have been.